Politics in the real world play a major role in everyday life. It comes in the forms of laws, rights, and issues that are fueled by politics. Politics in discussion are common as they are influences on decisions made in the government and help decide the people's future. Politics can also affect rights such as freedom of speech, equality among all colors, and sexuality. So when the Capitol was stormed by a large mob of Trump supporters before the inauguration in 2021, politics became the subject in the middle, and the media was quick to shift the blame onto former President Donald Trump and the Republicans.
Of course, this is not just shameful behavior by President Trump. It is a shame in front of the world. It is an embarrassment.
Anger at Donald Trump, accused of inciting this, is growing all the time.
Protesters became looters, turning the Capitol inside out.
This is not dissent. It's disorder. It's chaos. It borders on sedition.
For this topic, we'll be going into how the media uses framing to create a narrative based on conflict and responsibility during the Capitol siege, as well as how the media creates a narrative on the Republicans. We'll also be looking at two case studies where framing is used to perceive the Republicans and the police. In the media, framing is a key tool in convincing the audience on who to side with. It heavily varies on the context of the event and how the audience perceives it. And because of that, the audience is left to form their own thoughts on the event that is being reported on. Zemeko Valkenburg stated that framing in news is a concept that is conveyed to create a vision for the audience to interpret the event. In summary, the media creates a narrative for the readers to build on their understanding of the events being conveyed. The media also follows a linear structure with language used to reinforce their reporting and how they intend to frame it. These include the use of verbs to characterize a narrative in a context such as quoting, reporting, describing, summing up, etc. The first case study comes from Northern Nielsen of Fox, who made an article on the police during the Capitol titled "The Catastrophic Police Failure at the US Capitol Explained." The framing in this article is heavily influenced by conflict and responsibility, as it portrays the police in a way that makes the audience believe, if not already, that they performed poorly during the Capitol siege. The use of the descriptive word catastrophic gives readers the idea that the police failed to do their job during the riots. The article also reported on how police were unprepared in contrast to how they handled the peaceful protests in front of Lincoln Memorial, as well as noted how most police officers made little effort to combat the riots. This develops the narrative that the police underestimated the rioters, and therefore this can influence the reader's opinion on law enforcement, as well as calling for change in the justice system, which contributes to the responsibility frame. By using the responsibility frame, the article is suggesting that the police should be held accountable for not handling the riots appropriately, especially since it was the cause of one of the police officers' death. The next case study focuses on media covering the reactions of certain Republican senators during the Capitol riots, such as Josh Hawley. SBS News Gillespie wrote an article about him titled "How Republican Josh Hawley Became One of America's Most Despised Men After the Capitol Siege." Josh Hawley recently was reported to have been indirectly responsible for provoking the rioters at the Capitol. So what did he do? An image of him cheering on the rioters outside the building garnered negative traction from the media and some of his supporters and sponsors, as well as cause to his resignation. The framing here is focused on conflict, as it indicates Hawley as an antagonizing figure who approved of the riots. The quote in the article title, "America's Most Despised Man," has a heavy impact on shaping a person's general reputation, which emphasizes on how the media frames Hawley. Furthermore, the media's framing of conflict on the reactions can influence the audience's opinion on Republicans and therefore add some depth to the ongoing narrative on the conflict between Republicans and Democrats. In the end, the narrative and framing depends on how the media conveys it and allows the audience to perceive it. It's important to point out that the media's impact on the audience can shape their views and their perspectives on the events, with framing used to add depth into their stories. Narrative is developed by the media, and it's how they create stories and visions for the readers to believe in.